Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. And I'm really excited to be joined by Felix from the Tennis Brothers. And I tell you what, if you haven't seen their channel or videos, do check it out. It's on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure everyone has because it's blowing up. And I myself really enjoy watching the channel and the videos, and absolutely love it. Felix, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to get down into the nitty-gritty of YouTube and tennis.
Yeah, I'm excited too. To be fair, to get to know you a little bit as well, and give the subscribers a bit of an insight as well. So I guess we can just start off with how you got into tennis.
Well, I think originally it was more of kind of a social thing. When I was maybe 5, 6, was doing a few sports, tennis, football, cricket, a lot of the stuff like with friends and with school. And then I think at about 7 or 8, I kind of we went to this tennis academy at Chiswick Riverside when they were doing the program down there. And then, I really enjoyed it. I made some friends along the way, and then ever since then, I've kind of focused as on tennis as my main kind of sport, I guess, since 7, 8 years old, and then kind of just obviously improved. And then my brother hopped into tennis, which was great. And so then both brothers playing through the ages in tennis pretty much, and yeah, haven't really done any other sport since. I mean, not properly anyway.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool. And I guess being playing a lot of tennis and also your brother as well, it's probably quite cool because you guys get to discuss it a lot as well. So you've got a lot in common in that aspect. So I'm sure you're giving him lots of tips as well because you're the older one, aren't you, out of the two?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's loads of instances where like we're having a hit, or I come to watch him play tournaments, and he comes to watch me play. So there's a lot of kind of overlap with the two ages. I can give him some advice, he gives me some advice, from a different perspective, and it's just great, I guess, to have someone else that's kind of interested in the sport, because I guess when you're doing it by yourself, tennis is a very individual sport. So I mean, that's why like American colleges do so well, because you've got like a team kind of environment. So it's good to have someone in the household that's at least playing sport, and especially tennis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know my younger brother hates me coaching him when it comes to cricket. So both play cricket. So he
Yeah.
hates it. I'm sure you get that a couple of times. Well, I know what I'm doing.
Oh,
I know what I'm doing.
sometimes it's a bit of brotherly love, but
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
It's getting less as kind of you get older and a bit more mature.
Exactly. So how did you come up with the concept, I guess, for the YouTube channel? Because it's quite unique. Like there's not
Yeah,
many channels, if any, to be fair,
yeah,
that are like that, and it's really cool. Especially, of course, the recent segment, the Road to 180p point as well, where
hmm
you're kind of going around the country with I know
yeah,
your dad as well, and it's quite
hmm
cool. You're giving a good insight into what it's like to go to these
yeah,
tournaments and money in, money out, and match footage, etc. And also you're doing a bit of commentary on top of it, which is fantastic. So
yeah.
and a bit of insight. So not just that segment, but the channel as a whole. Like, how did it come about?
Well, originally, I have to give some credit to my dad here. It was way back in. It started on Instagram, so Tennis Brothers, and then after a year or two, we obviously saw Vine was a thing back in the day, which was like 6-second videos. And then we thought, okay, well, 6 seconds is not a lot to show tennis, so why don't we hop over to YouTube? Because obviously, back like 2013, YouTube wasn't a very big thing, and there were very, very little channels. There still aren't many, channels. There aren't many big channels either, especially from kind of individual creators. You've obviously got like Tennis TV, big accounts, but actual individual creators, there's not too many people. So we obviously saw, okay, can we show our tennis journey through the medium of YouTube? We didn't stay too consistent at the beginning. Obviously, it was kind of like testing it out. I think 2018, we began to take it a little bit more seriously with doing a video a week, etc., or even more. I think we posted like 150 videos that year. So that was like the proper year where we kind of started doing videos, I guess. And then, yeah, I think I've kind of learned through that whole process, because my dad obviously did a lot of the editing and stuff when I was like, 10 years old. I'm not going to be able to edit a video every week. He was filming, he was doing loads of awesome stuff. And obviously we were kind of just the actors, I guess, up until a few years ago. And then obviously recently I've taken a gap year, so I've got a little bit more time. And I've taken I obviously watch a lot of YouTube, or I have watched a lot of YouTube in the kind of the past few years. And so throughout that entire time, I'm kind of watching the way that these creators on not just tennis are creating these videos. You've got Mr. Beast, you've got so many great YouTubers who do the editing in a slightly different way. So I thought, how can I put that type of style and video creation into a tennis format? And obviously the tennis format is slightly unique with showing your journey, because there aren't that many people anyway. But how can I make that, good? So I said, okay, I'm going to do one video a week. I don't want to overstress myself. I could do 2, I could do 3, but then the quality is not going to be there. And I'm just going to show my journey throughout the entire year of trying to get 180p point, and hopefully further on down the line, getting higher up in the ATP ranks. It's applicable to anything. That's just kind of the name of, I guess, the start of the journey. And yeah, it's taken us to here. Obviously, I think people are enjoying the series. I think it's gone better than I could have obviously imagined in terms of kind of all the metrics and the support that it's got. And I'm super excited and to kind of see where it goes and see how it progresses, not only on YouTube, but also, of course, my journey. And it's great that other people are obviously, you know, living with me and kind of as I go as well.
Yeah, it's great because they're able to kind of, as you said, they're going on the journey with you, which is why I think it's so great to watch. It is real, but obviously you've, as you said, like you can tell like you've managed to make it relatable and also entertaining. So you kind of mixed and merged kind of the mainstream, I guess, YouTube media with tennis, right? And you've kind of merged into your own style, which is really cool to see as well. And also, I love the kind of commentary on top of it, and you're kind of explaining your thought process as well while playing, which I think anyone who plays tennis can relate to. Like, you know, and you're saying, okay, this is what I've done wrong, this is what I've done well, and then also the analysis after. So that was really cool. You said you actually just briefly mentioned that obviously, you know, one ATP point is obviously the start point, but you know, you want to kind of progress further. Obviously, it's really early days, but and you know, you don't have to say you've got goals or not, but do you have ambitions or goals like set out? Like some people have, you know, I want to make, for example, whatever top 500 at this age or etc. Or is it just one step at a time and just kind of tick it off as you go along?
I mean, for me, my ultimate aim from tennis is to be able to create a living from the actual playing of the tennis and nothing outside of it. And to be able to kind of, I guess, play on the tour and have those experiences at big major tournaments, not necessarily be number one in the world. So I want to kind of keep it relatively realistic. But if I can achieve that, obviously anything onwards of that would be great. I don't want to set myself a specific goal within the kind of age, because then it gets really tough and you base your decisions on trying to hit those goals. I guess, especially with university and the college route, players are peaking in the top 100 at like 28, 29 now. So setting yourself the goal, I need to be this by 22. Obviously, then you're thinking, okay, throughout my university, I've got to get there. And then that maybe doesn't work and you have to make a decision, which in hindsight may have been the wrong one because, oh, I've got 5 years playing futures. I only need 2 years or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, you can rush into decisions when you have a specific like time target. For me, yeah, just to make a living from tennis.
Yeah, no, you definitely sound like you've got a very good head on your shoulders, to be fair, which is really, really cool to hear as well. I'm sure people would love to hear that. So realistic, but also ambitious at the same time, which is really great. In terms of like growing up, obviously, you know, we're both from the UK, we're actually from a similar area as well. In terms of like players growing up, who did you look towards? I guess you can even say, I mean, what was the first tennis match you watched as well? Kind of what inspired you growing up and role models, etc. as well?
I mean, it has to be the big three mainly: Rafa, Roger, and Novak. They're kind of just dominating the whole period that I was watching since. I mean, I was born 2003, started in tennis 2010. Since then, it's been like the big three show. I think one of my favorite players is Andy Murray. He's obviously, you know, he's from the UK or Scotland specifically, but he's obviously representing, you know, our nation on a global scale. And I've obviously watched him play in practice sessions in tournaments. He was one of the first players I actually watched in the 02, I think it was. So watching him and, you know, seeing him play was like just amazing. And, you know, he's inspired me. And I think I based my game style a little bit around him as well, because kind of like a baseline player, big hitting from the back. You know, I quite enjoy that. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit, come to the net with a big serve, trying to get that kind of John Isner style a little bit more ingrained in the indoor hardcourt season. That's always, you know what you want. But yeah, I'd say he was probably the biggest kind of inspiration growing up, and I'd love to hopefully have a hit with him someday. Maybe play him in a match if he's not retired by then.
Who knows? You know, sure, well, that's a good goal to have. That's quite a fun goal to have. So you just mentioned obviously a little bit kind of style of kind of Andy Murray and John Isner one as well, which not many people can pull that off. But your net play is really impressive, actually. I think that's something that I've seen a lot of people on videos, and also myself as well watching as someone who plays just club tennis. Not many people nowadays, especially younger players coming through, are, you know, willing to come to the net off the serve, especially if you're not like a 6'3", 6'4", you know, plus giant. A lot of people are kind of weary about coming to the net, but if you've got good enough hands and your transition game is good enough, then, which yours obviously is from what I've seen, from what we've been watching, then it makes a huge difference. So that's great to see that you've got a variation there. What other, I mean, you might be no one, but when you're watching matches, I don't know how much tennis you do actually watch. who are you looking at to say, okay, this is what I want to take from this person? You said about Isner, obviously serve volley, but like, you know, for example, when you're looking at your forehand, your backhand, or your specific volleys or your overheads, for example, like who are the types of people that you're watching a lot of footage on to try and emulate, or is it not at all? You're just doing kind of what you think is technically the best.
I think that the number one thing I'm trying to think about when I'm, I guess, watching certain players is kind of their mindset. For me, that's quite important. I learn a lot from players in certain situations about their mindset. I mean, forehand, backhand, volleys. I mean, a lot of the players are kind of, you know, they've got their own technique, but they're all very, very good. I mean, Isner on serve, you know, maybe a slightly different category, but the style that they're playing and the way that they're playing is very similar. You know, haven't got one guy up here and one guy down there. Maybe there's little bits and pieces from certain players, certain shots that I kind of look at. I guess I like the Fed forehand. Who doesn't? I mean, it's unreal. You know, the Murray backhand, those are kind of the two main shots. But I mean, other than that, it's like the mindset in tough situations, you know, how well players like Novak are able to deal under pressure. That's kind of what I really look for in a match. And I think that really makes a tennis player that I take a bit of inspiration from. And obviously I enjoy watching players like Kyrgios, who's super entertaining to watch. I mean, you know, I'll always turn the TV on to watch Nick. So, you know.
Yeah, I was just watching him now against Yannick Sinner blow up. So that was a very entertaining match whilst it lasted anyway. You talked about the mental side. So, and that when you're watching, you see how these guys, I guess, they handle the pressure and the big points, because a lot of tennis, to be fair, like you rightfully said, is the mental side of things, because you will see players win because of how the scoring system works. They might win less points, but they'll end up winning the match. Because in the big points, they're the ones who are able to kind of grind out and win those important points. For you, like you're playing at the moment as well, and you're playing a lot. How much would you say is a percentage is the mental side at the moment? And then what would you say is kind of remainder is a skill-based or conditioning?
It's a tough question, because I think actually the level of players, there was I don't know if you know, My Tennis HQ, he did a video.
I watched it.
Kind of my game. Yeah. So he was kind of saying, which was quite interesting, the players in the level from maybe, I don't know, 600 ATP to players outside the ATP rankings like myself actually have a very similar level of game, obviously. And what sets them apart is the actual mental side, the experience on the tour, and those type of factors. So I think kind of, you know, mental is super, super important when it comes down to tournaments. In terms of level of tennis, probably I'd say more important than not, obviously. I think it's obviously one of the most important things, but in a match, it's by far the most important thing that, you know, if you can master the mental side, you can get the best out of yourself. Because I'd back myself, if I'm playing the best tennis I've ever played in my life, to win a match than if I was, I don't know, had a year's more training, but I was in a bad state mentally. I wasn't playing well. I mean, you see players on the top tour lose like love in a match, and they'd probably, you know, I'd probably maybe get a few games off them. And, you know, you're thinking, how does that happen? You're so much better. You've played for so many years.
Yeah.
But, it's, you know, it's all up here at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, 100%. And that's why you see like some of the top players, top 10, they might get bageled one day, and then the next day, you know, to someone who's out of the top 100. And then, you know, next day they're a world beater. So it is amazing how powerful the brain is, to be fair, and the mind. Just quickly, actually, for those who, because obviously, you know, we're both based in the UK, but there's quite a few people watching that won't be as well. So you mentioned like the indoor hard kind of swing that you've got at the moment, playing tournaments. You're playing a lot of domestic tournaments. Will you be able to break down, like, say you've got calendar year, what does it look like in terms of surfaces and kind of tournaments running through it?
I mean, within the UK or just in general?
Well, say for you, for example, say if you were to say your calendar year, say if we're in March now, what does it kind of look like for someone at your level at the moment?
Well, I think obviously within the UK, the main surfaces are obviously indoor hardcore during kind of the winter, and then, you know, outdoor hardcore or outdoor kind of fake clay or like astro kind of. But I think for me, kind of going abroad, I'd look to play on outdoor hard or clay. So for maybe a lot of the summer period, it will be outdoor hard or clay when I'm abroad. Maybe I think I'm planning maybe 5-6 weeks of futures tournaments. So not too much. And I'm also planning to go to Moratoglu. They've got a lot of clay courts and a bit of indoor hard, bit of outdoor hard. And then obviously when it comes to the summer swing, like Wimbledon, I'll hopefully be here because I enjoy like watching Wimbledon, and they'll play a few tournaments on the grass. So that's a bit of a novelty factor. I know a lot of people say on like videos where I show me playing on grass, like how crazy it is. And obviously to people in the UK, there's actually reasonable amount of grass courts in the summer. So you know, it's not too crazy. So I play a few tournaments on the grass, and then but obviously winter is a lot of kind of indoor hard. I mean, throughout the kind of, unless you're traveling to a like tropical country, that's where you're going to be playing most of your hard court tennis in the winter.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. Yeah, there's lots. Yeah, I mean, there's. I mean, even for people who are kind of club players, you can play on the grass, right? So
Yeah,
I know that All England Tennis Club, they've got in Rains Park even. That's here in the UK.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, they've got the grass courts there, so I play indoors there sometimes as well. But yeah, yeah, I know you're pressed for time, so we'll try and wrap up pretty soon as well. But Moritoglu Academy, you mentioned that obviously you're going to go there, and I know that you've also had some experience with Patrick Moritoglu even in the past as well. What was the experience like briefly?
Well, it was great. I mean, it was a filming kind of session. That was the main focus. So it wasn't like the focus was on our session. So Dunlop, I was there with a camp from Dunlop, and they then came to film for the new SX racket launch, and he kind of gave me some tips. Obviously, it was still helpful, maybe like 30, 40 minutes. He was super nice, and had a chat after the cameras were off and stuff like that. And yeah, he was just taking me through kind of, one of those Instagram kind of things he does on Insta where he like teaches you certain shot on how to improve it, stuff like that. So that was pretty helpful. Obviously, most of it was for the camera, like showing certain things. But of course, it has to be. But I think as well, because it was with Dunlop, it may have been a bit extra. But yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of going back, and I think I tried to plan it so that I'm there when he's there in like May. So maybe we can do something again then. That should be pretty cool.
Exactly. You need to ask him to hit with Tsitsipas. That's what you need to ask.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I hit with Tsitsipas? Can I hit with Michael?
Serena?
All these players.
Yeah, exactly. Serena. Just line them up.
Yeah, exactly. Line them up. I'm ready. I'm here. 10-point tiebreak against each of them. Love it.
Yeah, exactly. And then before we go, just quickly, Grand Slam predictions for the rest of the year. Really early, but we're probably not going to be able to chat. So I know you're a busy man. If you had to pick someone for, from the men's side, let's say, for the French, Wimbledon and US Open, who would you pick?
I mean, I was going to go Rafa for French, but obviously he's got a little bit of a problem at the moment, and I don't know how fit he's going to be. But knowing Rafa, the guy's superhuman, so I'm going to have to back Rafa to win French. Wimbledon's very open, in my opinion. It depends who plays. I guess if Novak can play, I'm saying Novak. But if Novak can't play, I'm backing... it's so tough. I'm backing... there's no one really that stands out. I'm going to say Alcaraz to win Wimbledon and US Alcaraz again. Why not?
Oh, wow. Okay, I love it.
I mean, that guy is insane. I mean, again, it depends. I would say Novak. If he plays, Novak will win. That's my prediction. Yeah. But apart from that, I think, it's pretty open between like Alcaraz, Tsitsipas, Zverev, and maybe like, I don't know, Fritz, those types of players. Kyrgios, if he plays well. I think Kyrgios might win Miami. Kyrgios, Alcaraz to win Miami. That's my Miami prediction.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, Alcaraz is incredible. So it's not as left field a prediction, to be fair, as some people might think he is incredible. Thanks, Felix, for your time. Really appreciate it. I know you've a man in demand, so I won't take up too much of your time. Guys, do check out Tennis Brothers on YouTube and also Instagram as well. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap up?
And thanks for having me, I guess.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Appreciate it. And hopefully, we can catch up soon. And good luck as well with the road to 1 ATP points, not just with the videos, but of course as well with your journey, because that's the most important thing, of course, as well. And I can see you're enjoying it. So yeah, all the best.
Cheers. Thank you. Great to talk.